everyone, today I have a video all about thrift store shopping, and I decided to do this because it seems that a lot of people have either really positive or really negative opinions about thrift store shopping. I happen to enjoy thrift store shopping because it's kind of like an adventure, as lame as that sounds, but you never know what you're gonna find. And I think it's cool that whatever you purchase at a thrift store, you're not gonna see on someone walking down the street. So it's kind of individualized for you, and it's a cool experience. But nevertheless, some people really don't like it, and I am just going to share with you a few tips. I actually took some footage when I was in a thrift store near my house, so I'm just going to kind of give you some tips and show you around the thrift store that I go to. I'm not going to like give out the name or anything like that, but just so you can visualize, and this is, you know, what most of them do look like. So I'm just going to share my experiences with you. First of all, if you don't live in a big city or a place like LA where there's awesome thrift stores on every single corner, you might be a little discouraged because, at least for me, I live in an area where there's not necessarily that many awesome thrift stores everywhere you turn. One good tip is to look for thrift stores attached to bigger hospitals in your area, because usually hospitals will have thrift stores that you can check out, and two of the thrift stores that I go to are actually attached to hospitals. And also, make sure you're looking for thrift stores that are off the beaten path, because most of the times awesome thrift stores are the ones that you wouldn't suspect, so just keep that in mind as well. When you're in a thrift store, make sure you're checking all the clothes in different sizes, because this is a little tedious, but it really will help you out, because you don't know what is going to end up fitting you. Something in the medium section might fit you if you're a large, or something in the small section might fit you if you're a medium. So you never really know, and if you're just looking in one size, then you're probably not going to get the best selection that you could get at that thrift store. When you're checking out accessories, especially handbags, try to stay away from knockoffs, because they're not going to be made well, and they're just really not going to be worth purchasing necessarily. I always look for vintage pieces whenever I'm looking at bags or jewelry, because they are made very well, they'll last long, and they're very, very different, and they'll stand out with any outfit that you're wearing. Even though it might be a little bit weird and you're probably going to be the only girl in the section, try to go over to the men's area with the men's clothing, because I know for me, I always like to look at the men's t-shirts, like just the cotton t-shirts, because I love concert t-shirts, and I find that the men's section always has really cool like concert t-shirts and stuff like that. So I just check the small sizes and see if any of them stand out to me. Whenever you go into a thrift store, make sure you are checking to see if there's any sales or markdowns that day. A lot of the time on Sunday mornings, if the thrift stores are open on Sundays, they'll have really good markdowns at that time, so that's cool. But normally I just go in and I just ask someone, like, are there any special deals going on today? Because a lot of the time there are like 50% markdowns or something like that. Now this is for all the people out there who don't like to try on shoes without socks, or worn shoes without socks. I personally don't really care. Some people think it's really unsanitary. I don't mind putting my foot in a used shoe. It doesn't really gross me out, but I know some people are probably like cringing in their seats right now. So if you're worried about trying on shoes, then just bring a pair of socks and keep it in your handbag until you're ready to try some on. Whenever you go into a thrift store, make sure you check out the belt section, because the belts at thrift stores are always really, really cheap, and I think that belts regularly priced at like retail stores are ridiculously expensive. So I always check out the belt section because they're always so cool looking, and they have really interesting looking buckles. So I don't know, I just like them because they stand out. Another thing to think about when you're at a thrift store, since the jeans and the pants are so inexpensive, they're usually around $5, you can consider taking them home and cutting them up. I actually bought this pair of jeans at a thrift store for $2.50, and I cut them into high-waisted shorts, and I just sewed the bottom, cuffed them, and I'm going to try to scuff them up a little bit. That's just something to think about, because this was such an easy project for me to do. I just had to cut them, and then I had perfectly decent high-waisted shorts.
And I drag myself